The roar of the crowd rolled like thunder through the stone walls of the Colosseum, a sound so deafening that it seemed to shake the very earth. To the Romans, this was not simply entertainment, it was ritual, power, and spectacle fused together in a display of blood and glory. But beneath the cheers, beneath the shimmering sunlight pouring over marble and sand, there was a truth that was far darker, far more chilling than the image Rome so carefully cultivated. The arena was not only a theater of courage, it was a theater of cruelty, where human lives were bartered for fleeting moments of amusement, and where the most terrifying acts of depravity were celebrated as triumphs of civilization. Rome prided itself on discipline, law, and order, but inside the amphitheater, those values evaporated. Here, men, women, and sometimes even children became instruments of entertainment. What happened within the arena often pushed far beyond the boundaries of morality, descending into spectacles so grotesque that even Roman writers of the time admitted they had gone too far. And yet, the empire continued, driven by a hunger for sensation and domination. At the heart of this spectacle was the gladiator. He was at once admired and despised, cherished as a hero but degraded as a slave. Many of these fighters were prisoners of war, men stolen from conquered lands, Gaul, Germania, Thrace, and Africa, dragged in chains to Rome's cities. Others were enslaved individuals or even criminals condemned to death. Rome gave them a new name, gladiator, but stripped them of everything else: their freedom, their identity, their dignity. For the black men brought from North Africa, often Berbers or Nubians, their very bodies became curiosities. Roman audiences marveled at their strength and dark skin, exoticizing them even as they condemned them to death in staged battles that had little to do with fairness. These men were forced to fight not only lions or bears, but also grotesque contraptions designed to humiliate them. One ancient record describes dark-skinned men sent into the arena smeared with pitch, then lit aflame as living torches, a twisted blend of entertainment and execution. It is a reminder that the arena was never only about combat, it was about sending messages. Rome was declaring, "This is what happens to those who are different, those who resist, those who fall beneath our empire's weight." The cruelty of the arena did not stop at gladiatorial duels. The Romans engineered elaborate executions called damnatio, ad bestias, condemnation to the beasts. The condemned, stripped of weapons, were sent into the arena against lions, leopards, or bulls, starved to a frenzy. But Rome's thirst for innovation turned even this into something more sinister. In one notorious spectacle, criminals and enslaved captives were dressed as mythological figures, Icarus or Hercules, and then slaughtered in staged reenactments of myths. The crowd would laugh and applaud as a man playing Icarus was hoisted into the air with wax wings, only to fall and be torn apart by beasts waiting below. To the Romans, it was theater. To the victims, it was horror beyond imagination. Yet what makes these acts most terrifying is not just their brutality, but the casual indifference with which they were carried out. The crowd cheered, senators nodded in approval, emperors smiled, their power affirmed by orchestrating life and death. And among those crowds were ordinary Romans, merchants, farmers, women, children, all complicit in normalizing the sight of human beings treated as expendable objects. For the enslaved, especially those taken from Africa or distant provinces, there was no justice. They were denied their voices, their histories erased, their lives reduced to statistics in an account book. But even within this cruelty, we glimpse sparks of human dignity. Stories survive of gladiators who fought with such courage that they became legends, their names whispered in the streets. Some even won their freedom, though they carried the scars of their ordeal for the rest of their lives. In their defiance, in their refusal to die quietly, there is a glimmer of resistance, a refusal to be broken, even in the face of unimaginable brutality. Still, Rome pushed the boundaries further. By the reign of Emperor Domitian, spectacles had become so excessive that they resembled nightmares more than performances. Exotic animals were imported from Africa and the East, not only lions and elephants, but also ostriches, crocodiles, and even hippopotamuses. The more unusual the creature, the more the crowd thrilled, but with each new animal came new cruelty. Enslaved people, often from Africa, were forced into grotesque combats where they were expected to battle beasts they had never even seen before. Imagine a man from the Nile Delta, chained and starved, thrown into an arena with a rhinoceros. There was no chance of survival. The act was designed purely to shock, to remind everyone of Rome's domination over nature, over man, over everything. And yet, there were moments that shook even the hardened Roman spectators. Accounts tell of mass executions where hundreds of enslaved captives were slaughtered in a single day. In one notorious event, the arena floor was flooded to create a mock naval battle. Prisoners, chained into wooden ships, were forced to reenact sea battles until they drowned beneath the waves. This was not war. This was theater turned into a mass grave, entertainment bought with blood. For Rome, it was power. For the enslaved, it was annihilation. But beneath the cruelty lies a deeper question. Why did Rome crave such horrors? Why was blood and pain the currency of their joy? Some historians argue that the games were a release for a society built on conquest and violence. Rome's empire thrived on domination, and the arena was its miniature battlefield that reminded the people of Rome's strength and their place in the order. To cheer as a man died was, in a twisted way, to cheer for Rome itself. And yet, as we look back, the arena also forces us to confront something universal: the human hunger for spectacle and the danger of dehumanization. The Romans did not see those in the arena as people. They saw them as tools, as symbols, as entertainment. It is this loss of humanity that made the acts so terrifying, not only the cruelty itself, but the normalization of it. In the shadows of those stone walls, lives ended without justice. Men from Africa, from the provinces, from conquered landspeople with families, stories, and dreams were erased in the sand, their blood washed away for the amusement of strangers. And while Rome celebrated victory, what was lost was immeasurable. The dignity of countless souls who deserved more than to die for applause. The Colosseum still stands today, its arches casting long shadows across the earth. Tourists wander its halls, marveling at its grandeur. But if the stones could speak, they would not tell stories of glory alone. They would whisper of screams swallowed by the roar of the crowd, of men and women who faced death with courage, and of the darkness that consumed a civilization so proud of its light. Rome believed the arena would immortalize its greatness. Instead, it revealed the empire's cruelty. And in remembering the most terrifying acts of the amphitheater, we remember not only the victims of Rome, but the lesson they leave us, that dignity, even when stripped and broken, remains the most powerful form of resistance.